We have some really awesome members who are part of our Facebook group who share their journey with us. This is the before and after experience of a man named Jorge. Before Jorge discovered the principles of Michael Singer's teachings, his life was a constant struggle. He worked long hours at a stressful job but barely made enough to cover his expenses. His relationships were troubled, often leaving him feeling drained and unfulfilled. He craved connection, yet he found himself repeatedly drawn to people who triggered his insecurities and brought him more pain than joy. His finances added to his stress, and he saw life as a constant fight against forces that wouldn't align with his desires. Whenever life didn't go his way, Jorge internalized it as a personal failure. In line at the bank, he'd fume at the slow service. When his friends didn't respond to messages, he'd feel neglected. Each inconvenience or rejection reinforced his self-image as someone the world treated unfairly. Then, Jorge came across The Untethered Soul and later Living Untethered by Michael Singer. He was struck by Singer's teaching that you have collected garbage inside yourself, which you let come up again and again, and that happiness didn't rely on external conditions but on surrendering the garbage within, rather than surrendering to it. These ideas sparked a curiosity in Jorge to question his responses and motives. He began a practice of letting go, especially of his need to control the world around him. Jorge, after embracing Singer's practices. Practicing Singer's teachings radically transformed Jorge's approach to life. Instead of seeing each event as something to control, Jorge practiced acceptance. When his job required long hours, he'd calmly accept that this was his present reality rather than seeing it as something going wrong. He worked with a sense of purpose, focusing on doing his best without obsessing over what he couldn't change. This non-resistance allowed him to find peace and even joy in his work. In relationships, he shifted from seeking validation to cultivating love and openness from within. Instead of reacting defensively, Jorge practiced mindfulness, noticing when his old fears or insecurities surfaced, and choosing to let them pass. He stopped clinging to relationships for validation, and paradoxically, his connections improved. Jorge realized, as Singer describes, that our natural state is love, joy, and inspiration, and that he could feel whole and fulfilled without needing anyone else to complete him. Financially, Jorge stopped approaching his income as a measure of success or self-worth. He used Singer's concept of surrendering to reality and focused on what was within his control. This shift allowed him to handle setbacks with resilience and to act wisely without the stress of needing immediate results. In contrast to his earlier life, Jorge was no longer burdened by life's challenges. He was now a man who radiated inner peace, accepting the unfolding of life with openness and grace. His relationships became lighter and more genuine because he no longer needed others to soothe his inner turmoil. Instead of struggling with life, he learned to flow with it.